What do you say, baseball fans? Rye Bread talking baseball, episode 31. The East-West showdown is wrapping up on this Sunday. Lots of day game action. We'll get right into it. Rays break my heart. Glasnow loses last night. But man, not his fault. What a great team out there, the A's. They really play a brand of baseball that I can get with. That's an exciting matchup. The A's take the series, the season series. These games are at such a premium because the division matchups, you're getting 19 tries. When you're playing out of division, you're only getting 7. So that was a heck of a win for the A's. The Rays need one. They've got their second best starter going today with McClanahan backed by hopefully Patino. I expect the Rays to be fired up for this one because that series sweep they got against the Angels kind of gets left in the shadow a bit if you turn around and get swept at Oakland. But if you bookend and you end up on this road trip at 5-2, that's okay. They'll take that all day long. So the Rays have a big one today. The game of the night for me was that Seattle and Texas game. Wow. Fireworks galore. The ball was leaving the yard. Gallo. Oh, Gallo. He's so strong. When he hits the ball, it goes so far. Man, there's some bombs last night. That was a fun game. But when you're the catcher and you don't know how many outs there are, oh, man, it hurts so bad. It was a painful finish to that game. But it ends up giving us this rubber match. Justus Sheffield, Dane Dunning. You know I love Dane. Scandinavian lad. I love it. But Sheffield and Dunning coming off strong performances, man. Dunning wasn't bad last time out. He's got great stuff. It's just whether or not the Rangers are going to get behind him. It's frustrating watching the Rangers sometimes because they can look so good and play such an exciting brand of baseball. That was a fun game yesterday. And this is with that cross-pollination thing that I can't say right now. I've been watching a lot of Seattle baseball and Rangers baseball that I normally wouldn't. And I've really made an effort to try and branch out and just watch more games, and I'm just loving it. It's great. So far this season, it's not been a disappointment. Toronto claws back like they've been doing. They salvaged that split against Oakland. Now they're 1-1 with Houston. They've got their prospecty kid Pearson on the mound to start. He's probably just going to be more of an opener against Greinke, who's been pretty hittable. So Toronto's got a shot here to walk out of town with a series win. That would be huge for them. And don't look now, despite Steven Matz a little bit elevated ERA, the guy's sitting at 5-2. And if it's Mother's Day and you ask a Toronto fan if you're happy with that record, 5-2 for Steven Matz, I guarantee they'd be pleased with that. That's a lot more than they expected to get out of him at this point, I guarantee you. And then the Dodgers took care of the Angels in a weird one. The Dodgers went up like 13-0. And then the final score ends up being 14-11, I believe, at the end. 14-11. So I left that game, and then when I came back, the Angels kept clawing away just to lose it. And I'm including the Dodgers in a parlay today. I'm taking the chalk parlay. DeGrom and Bauer. Okay. So if the Dodgers and the Mets win their games, Mets have Riley Smith in the D-backs, and the Angels are throwing Quintana out there. So you get the Mets and Dodgers in a 2-team parlay for plus 103. It's even money. But we've been so cold, you can't stay with me. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. You can probably use that to your advantage. So keep an eye today also on Giolito. I didn't want to forget this. Giolito's has a couple of rough outings, and he's at Kansas City. Kansas City's in a tailspin right now. I'm not touching this game, but Giolito's looked rough, and I want to see for myself in real time here just what's wrong with him. Because he hasn't looked like himself, or he hasn't been producing like himself. I've only been watching kind of condensed games. I haven't watched a lot of White Sox baseball, admittedly, over the last week. I've been focused on this East-West thing. So I'm going to take a look at him. San Diego and San Francisco. That series, was as advertised. San Francisco put it on them. Longo keeps hitting. This guy Austin Slater with the mustache power went deep again. They've got Cueto on the mound against undecided today so far. So San Diego needs to get one here. And guess who's in first place in the National League West? The San Francisco Giants. I think I'm under obligation to say that every day they're in first place now after the vicious string of vile hate mail from those raucous Giants fans out there. Just kidding. The Giants are in first place in the National League West. It is worth repeating because, again, I don't think anybody had them there on Mother's Day at the beginning of the year anyway. So Boston won. It's worth mentioning that they look a lot better now than they did against the Tigers. That was rough against the Tigers, but it looks like that sharpened their pencil. The rubber matches for today, though, is what we're going to be keeping an eye on. Seattle and Texas are playing for the series. And then you've got Toronto and Houston playing for their series. And then the sneaky one, Domingo Germán's going for the Yankees today, and they're looking for a series win against Washington. So the Rays really need to get one behind McClanahan and Patino. But it's Cole Irvin going for Oakland, and that guy's just been as nasty as anybody. We highlighted this after his last start. His ERA over his last 4 was 1.28. He is a tough pitcher, and the Rays just don't do well against lefties, man. Their numbers are just down. This is a very tough matchup for the Rays, but they've got as good as it's going to get in their bullpen coming out with McClanahan and Patino back-to-back. It's going to be a great game, and the Rays really need it. So obviously I'm checking on that one, and we'll hold off on any more analysis on that until we find out who win these series and if the Rays can salvage something. And before we go, last Phillies and Atlanta. Nola at Ynoa. Ynoa's the pitcher for Atlanta who likes to go deep. Pitchers who rake, always a crowd pleaser. That's going to be the nightcap tonight. Phillies at Braves. And I know I picked the Phillies, but man, I think I like the Braves a lot more. I reserve my right to switch that pick. And then again, we're taking the Mets to Dodgers in that chalk parlay today. That'll be it for us. Don't forget, if you're at the Trop, stop by Old Bascom's Chop House. It's 15 minutes away. Best steak, best wine list in the city. Tell them I sent you. You won't be disappointed. Get at me on Twitter at rybread0844. Happy Mother's Day out there to everyone. Love you, Mom. We'll be back again tomorrow. We're going to do 162.